So, would you tell us who you are and where you come from and why you're here?
I'm Carl Meyer, and I went to jail for 30 days with Dorothy Day and Ammon Hennessy.
Wow, when was
The
that?
first day I met them in 1957 for refusing to take shelter in these compulsory air raid drills in New York, where they thought they were going to. The Homeland Security types thought that they were going to protect Americans from a Russian nuclear attack on Manhattan by hiding in the basements of the buildings. I was already working in the basement of a building in Manhattan.
Yeah, that's a whole story on its own.
So I've been, that was 1957. I've been 56 years in the Catholic worker movement. When I graduated from college, I graduated from the University of Chicago. The first thing I did was rent an apartment and start taking people in on the north side in Chicago, a house of hospitality that I ran for 13 years. And I've always had people living in community with me. I've cooperated after I had my own house of hospitality, St. Stephen's. I cooperated and have been a friend of Francis of Assisi House of Hospitality in Chicago for the 38 years that since it started.
So your entire life basically your adult life has been totally immersed by the Catholic worker movement.
Yeah, and my ideas came from Gandhianism, from Gandhi when I was 10 years old, of the year he was assassinated. But the ideas that Gandhi has about the social order and the ideas that Peter Marin had run just exactly parallel to each other. They have to do with manual labor, doing your own work, not exploiting other people, life on the land, small is beautiful.
Sure.
Do your own. Gandhi spun his own clothes and wove them, and Peter Marin believed in handcrafts. But they were both intellectuals, and they had ideas about the whole social order and how you could have a non-violent social order. And I was a convert to Catholicism when I was 19 years old. Now I'm an atheist, agnostic, pantheist, or whatever, but I'm not a practicing Catholic. I don't believe in the theology at all, but I believe in the Catholic worker synthesis.
Yes.
The synthesis of ideas and practice. The synthesis of actual practice of the ideas, as Gandhi did and as Peter Marin did,
goes a lot beyond theory, right?
Creating a community in which people can live together without harming one another, without exploiting one another, without doing violence to one another. And in the last 20 or 30 years, an awareness also that we have to stop doing violence to the web of nature of which we are a part.
Yes, and at the same time, taking action against a whole array of injustice that is out there, practiced by mostly a lot of governments, including especially the good old USA.
Now, the other thing that I'm well known for in the peace movement is the writing about and making war tax refusal practical for many, many people by developing methods and ideas of how to combat the IRS system effectively and to refuse payment for the military imperial state without being. It's like nonviolent guerrilla warfare or guerrilla peace fair with the IRS.
Hit them where it hurts the most, right in the pocket.
Where they don't succeed in collecting the money, but you don't spend your life tangling with them or getting in trouble with them or having more money seized. So I've counseled thousands of people and written about how to do it effectively so that it works. And it's worked for me very effectively for 60 years.
Amazing. And you're also known for the Peace House, right?
Well, the Peace House was when my children were grown up and off to college. I took a year and built this beautiful gypsy motor home, custom made.
On the back of a pickup truck,
on the back of a Ford F-350 truck, and I called the Peace House, and everybody loved it. Children loved it, but adults loved it too. Everybody loved it and was fascinated with it. the design of it and the display windows on the side. It was educating 24 hours a day about nonviolence. Even when I was sleeping or wasn't with it.
Yeah, and you traveled
and I
extensively,
traveled
right?
all over the country, and in the course of that, I visited about at least 40 Catholic worker communities, from Los Angeles to Atlanta, and from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, to northern Minnesota.
Wow.
And so that made me a lot of familiar with all the diversity of the way people in the Catholic worker movement fulfill this vision of society.
And where are you at now?
And then I converted myself on the issue of nonviolence, because excess gasoline usage is the most violent thing we are doing in America and the world today. It's behind our imperial wars in the Middle East.
Yes.
It's behind the destruction of our environment. And so I took the Peace House off the land, off the truck, and sold the truck. The Peace House is now a guest house on this urban agricultural community. Because in the course of visiting all these Catholic worker communities that are in these depressed or inner core urban poverty neighborhoods in every city in America, I saw all this land standing vacant because these are neighborhoods that people are afraid to live in or don't want to live in.
Yes, and they moved out of.
And there's all this land and all of these bargain houses that are undervalued. And I bought a house, 4-room brick house, a beautiful house, for $18,000 in Nashville, Tennessee. Spent about 5 minutes fixing it up. I picked Nashville as the ideal climate and location. Location, and I started an urban agricultural community, and now we have we're 2 miles from the state capital, within walking and bicycle distance of most things
practically
you want to
in
do
downtown.
Yeah.
Yes.
And but we have about an acre of land, and we have fig trees, pear trees, apple trees, 100 quarts of figs, fresh figs off of one fig tree this year. So we're raising our own food by intensively cultivating with food-producing crops. And I say that there's more biological diversity on that third of an acre that I have. We now have a total of an acre and 4 houses than there ever was on that land in all of, because
yes, very intensive.
We're bringing in a diversity of plants and creating a symbiotic biological community.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I would like to